The Biden crime family. New emails show that Joe Biden may have sent an interesting transaction to Hunter in the amount of $100,000. That's a lot of money from daddy. Don't know what Hunter did to get that type of an allowance, but there are two emails here that are going over to Wells Fargo and other financial advisors from Hunter saying, move this money around. And some of that money is going to alimony, going to some payments to the fam. So it's curious what's happening here. We've got Jim Jordan and Ron Johnson who are reacting to this, saying we're going to dig into this further. But here's the backstory, and the Daily Caller did some good work on this before we jump into the emails. Here's what they tell us. They say Hunter appears to have received $100 grand from Joe Biden in 2018. He was experiencing financial difficulties. This is according to archived emails from the First Son and Wells Fargo advisors. That's curious. Now, of course, Donald Trump is in office at this time, so they're out of office. Hunter Biden emailed two Wells Fargo's advisors on November 1st, alerting them to an incoming transfer of $100 grand from JRB, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., a moniker referring to his father, J.R. Biden Jr., who was out of political office at the time. So here's one set of emails. Let's take a look at what this one says. It says, this message comes from Robert Hunter, and he's got his iCloud address right here. Sent Thursday, November 1st, 2018, 9:12 in the morning. This goes over to Edward P. He's over at Wells Fargo's, along with Cynthia D., also at Wells Fargo. Here's the subject: incoming wire or transfer from. All right, so Hunter sends this message to the Wells Fargo team. They're his financial people. He says, hey, Wells Fargo, and he doesn't even say hello or good morning or anything. Hey, doesn't even say hey. One, a wire will be coming from JRB Jr.'s account shortly for $100,000 to account whatever that is, which must be Hunter's account. Hunter says, please use those funds to complete the transfer to Kathleen. We'll learn who that is. Could you also please transfer $3,000 into account ending blank? I cannot do so online. Thanks, period. Very rude email behavior. You could use an exclamation point or just say something like thank you, a little bit, a little nicer there. Thanks, period is kind of bossy, I think. But here is what they say in response. Edward responds back. He says, thanks. So he does the same thing, he's just kind of acknowledging it. But then Hunter is probably high on crack again or something. Or maybe he's just thrilled that he's getting $100 grand for daddy so he can go buy more crack and prostitutes. But the point is, he responds now with periods and some excitement. So Robert responds after that money hits November 1st at 10:15 to Edward. He says, thank you, good sir. Tally ho. Is that some sort of deviant language that I don't know about? We've got Edward Pruitt. He is responding to that. So that's the first email. And that's pretty curious, right? $100 grand from daddy goes into his account. Money needs to go to Kathleen and another $3 grand into another account. What's that money for, huh? What's that $3 grand for? What's that money for Kathleen? And the big question, of course, is what is this account? So what is the number? What is the money, the number of the Joe Biden's account that it's coming in from? And is that another account that we can search for SARS reports and for other transfers? Can we see, since something came out of it, in other words, what went into it so that we can backtrace all the fun? We'll see. But here is what the Daily Caller tells us as we continue. They say, Hunter was paying his ex-wife, Kathleen Boulay, monthly alimony, and he racked up more than 65 grand of credit card debt due to all of his personal expenses, due to emails on his laptop. Yeah, cracking hookers will do that. The email with account numbers are partially redacted to protect Hunter's bank account. So maybe they did those redactions. They say here, the bank account that Hunter Biden sent to his email Wells Fargo advisors, the bank account belongs to Owasco, and that's one of Hunter's shell companies. That came out according to an email sent back in 2018 by one of Hunter's Wells Fargo advisors listing his accounts and the last 4 digits of their numbers so they can connect all the two. The last 4 digits of Owasco, which is Hunter's account number, match the account information sent by Hunter Biden in November 2018 when he described the $100,000 wire from Joe. The Owasco account had more than $89,000 available less than a month before Hunter appeared to receive financial support from his father. So in other words, why was he asking for that money, or why did he need that money if he already had money in the other account or something? Let's see. This is the other batch. Here is the set of emails. Comes in here, says from Cynthia at Wells Fargo. She says, hey, Hunter and Katie. And Katie was Katie Dodge, the same Katie Dodge that told the other person welcome to the team at the White House when Hunter needed a letter written from the White House. Says, Hunter and Katie, this is Wells Fargo speaking, there is an ACH, a transfer for blank, don't know what that is, trying to clear the personal account these numbers. And I think these might be Daily Caller redacting these. Currently, there is blank available. There's $89,541 available in the PC account. I need an answer by 11 a.m. or it will be returned. Please let us know how to handle. And so they respond, they say, Katie says, she's fired, is in a lot of emails, says, hi, thanks for the heads up. There may be a couple more small charges to that same account today. Could we please move $10,000 from the PC to this? And they move it around. That's from Katie Dodge. Guess who's copied on this one? Robert Hunter Biden at iCloud yet again. So they're moving more money around, and we're always looking for the source of the funds. Where did it originate from? The Daily Caller continues, they say, Owasco was a shell company that Hunter Biden used to take payments from Ukrainian energy company called Burisma, that same account. The same Romanian oligarch, Gabriel Popoviciu, Chinese energy firm, CEFC. This came according to whistleblowers, Joseph Ziegler, Gary Shapley, and those guys. In spring 2016, Burisma began sending Biden his monthly payment, more than $80,000 a pop, and he got $100 grand through Owasco as well. So it's going to be curious to see if that opens up any new avenues of investigation. White House did not respond to requests for comments from the Daily Caller. So a lot of interesting transactions between Daddy and Hunter. $100,000, nice little allowance from your dad. But Jordan says, look, obviously there's some funny business going on here. We are going to get to the bottom of it.
We're going to come at this from all angles. Mr. Comer today subpoenaed documents and individuals from DHS and the Secret Service. Chairman Smith has subpoenaed individuals from the IRS who were part of the investigation into Hunter Biden. We have subpoenaed individuals from the FBI who were part of the investigation. We want them in for deposition. So we're coming at this from three sides to get the facts for the country.
And we'll see if they get it. Three different angles, hitting it hard. And we know that they do send a bunch of letters out. But the question is, did the letters do anything, or is this obstruction just going to continue? This is Senator Ron Johnson, who says, there's just kind of a broad corruption that exists in all of these entities, and that the obstruction is not new to Joe Biden. This has been going on for years now. And even when Bill Barr was in charge under Donald Trump, they were obstructing too, which I think is really the bigger point here. Is this is an institutional problem as much as it is anything. The institution just happens to support the Democrats. That's why they install them and protect them while prosecuting the other side.
Well, Rob, first of all, I think you and Rudy Giuliani have done a really good job of laying out the injustice, the contradictions, the hypocrisy within our media. In particular, one of the things I want to point out, I'm not sure that this tip-off occurred under the Trump administration, but an awful lot of the obstruction of the Hunter Biden investigation occurred under Attorney General Bill Barr. I'm not saying he was involved, but the point I'm making is even under Republican administration, these federal agencies have done a great job of insulating themselves from congressional oversight, from public scrutiny, from management of a Republican president. And a lot of this obstruction of the investigation to Hunter Biden, obviously, President Trump wanted to get this information out, occurred under his administration. It just shows you how incredibly deep the state is, and how pervasive it truly is. And again, it's populated by a bunch of leftists.
Yeah, and they're all working towards the same goal. And we see where they are working from the very beginning. They were the people who recommended David Weiss to Donald Trump. They said, hey, you should appoint this guy or keep him in, and he's been here for a long time, and he's really going to do a thorough investigation. But we learned that David Weiss actually worked with Beau Biden, been there for a long time. He's basically an inside man. So you expect people who are in the government to give the leader, actual good information and follow their orders and contribute to governance. But that is not what happened at all. Instead, they told Trump a bunch of stuff he wanted to hear. They said, these are all great people. We care about you and your success. And they never did. And now we see that their selected so-called prosecutors are involved in mountains of corruption and covering up this whole investigation. Congress says they're digging into it. The emails every day, it's like this slow whittling process. Eventually, we'll see what some of this money was for and where it came from. Joe Biden to Hunter.